Hi everybody, my name is Boss Mode Billy. I like to make gaming content as well as other videos. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you love Roblox as much as I do. I'm going to do more gameplay videos and walkthrough tutorials in the future, so make sure you ring that bell for notifications. Welcome back to Too Many Weapons. Are you a part of the Boss Mode Nation? Let me know in the comments below if you are Boss Mode. Let's get into it, gamers. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that I think is really important for all of us, and that's learning to believe in ourselves. You know, it's easy to get caught up in negative self-talk and doubt. But what if I told you that there's a way to overcome all that by tapping into a deeper sense of faith and trust? For me, that's meant exploring the biblical concept of faith and how it relates to self-belief. When we think about faith, we often think about having faith in higher power, in God, or in Jesus. But what's really interesting is how that faith can translate to having faith in ourselves. It's all about trust, really trusting that we're capable, that we're strong, and that we're worthy of love and respect, not just from others, but from ourselves. By understanding the biblical concept of faith, we can start to see how it applies to our own lives, and how having faith in Jesus can actually help us to have more faith in ourselves. It's a pretty powerful idea, and it's one that has really changed my life, so I'm excited to share it with you all today. So, now that we've talked about the concept of faith and how it relates to self-belief, let's dive into how we can actually start to develop a personal relationship with Jesus that can help us to believe in ourselves. For me, this has been all about prayer and meditation, taking time each day to quiet my mind, focus on my breath, and just talk to Jesus. It sounds simple, but it's really powerful. When we take the time to pray and meditate, we're not just asking for things, we're also listening for guidance and wisdom. We're allowing Jesus' teachings to sink deep into our hearts and minds, and to guide us as we navigate the ups and downs of life. And that's where the real transformation happens, when we start to see ourselves through Jesus' eyes as loved, worthy, and capable individuals. Through prayer and meditation, we can start to develop a deeper sense of self-reflection and to see areas where we need to grow and improve. But instead of beating ourselves up over our flaws and weaknesses, we can approach them with kindness, compassion, and confidence, knowing that Jesus is with us every step of the way. His teachings become a source of inspiration and guidance, reminding us that we are enough, just as we are, and that we have the power to overcome any obstacle. As we develop this personal relationship with Jesus, we start to see ourselves in a new light and to believe in our own abilities and strengths. We become more confident, more self-assured, and more at peace, knowing that we're not alone, and that Jesus is always guiding and supporting us. As we continue on this journey of believing in ourselves through the power of Jesus, I want to talk about a principle that I think is really foundational, and that's the principle of self-love. Now, when we hear the phrase self-love, we might think it sounds a little selfish or narcissistic, but the truth is, Jesus himself taught the importance of loving ourselves. In Mark 12:31, Jesus says that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves, implying that we can't truly love others if we don't first love and accept ourselves. This is a game changer, because it means that our self-love isn't selfish, it's actually a necessary foundation for loving and serving others. When we focus on this biblical principle of self-love, we start to see that it's not just about self-acceptance, but about self-worth. We begin to understand that our worth and value come not from our accomplishments or achievements, but from the fact that we are loved and accepted by Jesus just as we are. This realization can be incredibly freeing, because it means we don't have to strive for perfection or constantly try to earn our worth. Instead, we can rest in the knowledge that we are already enough, already loved, and already worthy, simply because we are children of God. As we apply this principle of self-love to our lives, we start to see ourselves in a new light. We become more gentle and compassionate with ourselves, more willing to make mistakes and learn from them, and more confident in our own skin. We start to recognize that our flaws and weaknesses are not things to be ashamed of, but rather opportunities for growth and transformation. And as we learn to love and accept ourselves, we become more capable of loving and accepting others, just as Jesus taught. This is the beautiful cycle of self-love and self-acceptance that Jesus modeled for us, and it's one that can bring profound freedom and joy to our lives. As we've been talking about the importance of self-love and self-acceptance, I want to shift our focus to something that can be a major obstacle to believing in ourselves: negative self-talk. You know, that inner critic that can be so quick to point out our flaws and weaknesses, and to tell us that we're not good enough. I think we've all been there at some point or another, and it can be really damaging to our self-esteem and confidence. But here's the thing, Jesus didn't come to condemn us or to tear us down. He came to love us, to lift us up, and to set us free. And that's exactly what we need to do with our own negative self-talk. We need to challenge it and replace it with the truth of Jesus' teachings. One of the most powerful ways to do this is by using positive affirmations. You know, phrases like "you are loved," "you are worthy," and "you are enough" can be incredibly transformative when we repeat them to ourselves, especially when we're feeling discouraged or uncertain. These affirmations aren't just feel-good phrases, they're actually based on the teachings of Jesus, who told us that we are loved, that we are valued, and that we are worthy of love and respect. When we repeat these affirmations to ourselves, we're not just trying to boost our self-esteem, we're actually reminding ourselves of the truth of who we are in Jesus. We are loved, we are worthy, and we are enough, not because of anything we've done or achieved, but because of who Jesus is and what He's done for us. By replacing our negative self-talk with these positive affirmations, we can start to shift our mindset and our perspective, and to see ourselves in a more positive and compassionate light. We can start to believe in ourselves, not because of our own strength or abilities, but because of the power and love of Jesus that is at work in us. And that's a truly liberating thing, because it means that we're not alone, and that we don't have to rely on our own efforts or abilities to be enough. Jesus is enough, and when we trust in Him, we can trust that we are enough too. As we continue on this journey of believing in ourselves through the power of Jesus, I want to talk about something that I think is really important for all of us to cultivate: self-compassion. You know, it's easy to be hard on ourselves when we make mistakes or experience setbacks. We can be our own worst critics, beating ourselves up over things that we've done wrong, and dwelling on our failures. But Jesus didn't teach us to be like that. In fact, He taught us the exact opposite. He showed us that compassion and forgiveness are at the heart of God's love, and that we should extend the same kindness to others that He extends to us. But here's the thing, we often forget to extend that same kindness to ourselves. We're quick to offer forgiveness and compassion to others, but when it comes to ourselves, we can be much more harsh. We need to remember that Jesus' compassion and forgiveness aren't just for others, they're for us too. When we make mistakes or experience setbacks, we need to learn to be gentle with ourselves, to offer ourselves the same kindness and compassion that Jesus offers us. This means being patient with ourselves and not expecting perfection. It means recognizing that we're human and that we're going to make mistakes. And it means treating ourselves with the same love and care that Jesus treats us with. When we cultivate self-compassion, we start to see ourselves in a new light. We start to recognize that we're not defined by our mistakes or our failures, but by our worth and value as children of God. We start to understand that we're loved, not because of what we do or achieve, but because of who we are. And we start to trust that Jesus is always with us, guiding us and supporting us, even when we stumble. By applying the same kindness and compassion to ourselves that Jesus applies to us, we can start to break free from the cycle of self-criticism and negativity, and to live in the freedom and joy of God's love. We can start to believe in ourselves, not because we're perfect, but because we're loved, and because we're worthy of love and compassion, just as we are. As we've been talking about the importance of self-compassion and self-acceptance, I want to highlight the role that community can play in helping us to build self-belief. You know, it's easy to feel like we're alone in our struggles and doubts, but the truth is we don't have to be. Jesus Himself didn't try to navigate life on His own. He surrounded Himself with a community of friends and followers who shared His values and supported Him on His journey. And that's exactly what we need to do too. When we surround ourselves with a supportive community that shares our values and faith, we can start to feel a sense of belonging and connection that is really powerful. These are people who will encourage us when we're feeling down, who will hold us accountable when we're struggling, and who will remind us of our worth and value when we're doubting ourselves. They're people who will help us to stay focused on our goals and aspirations, and who will support us as we work to build our self-belief. And it's not just about having people around us who will cheer us on, it's also about having people who will challenge us to grow and to become the best version of ourselves. When we are surrounded by people who share our values and faith, we can start to feel a sense of safety and security that allows us to take risks and to step outside of our comfort zones. We can start to feel more confident in our abilities and more willing to try new things and to pursue our dreams. And we can start to realize that we are not alone in our struggles and doubts, that we're part of a larger community of people who are all working to build their own self-belief and to live out their faith. For me, this community has been a game changer. It's provided me with a sense of belonging and connection that I never thought possible, and it's helped me to stay focused and motivated on my journey. And I know that it can do the same for you. So, if you don't already have a supportive community in your life, I want to encourage you to start seeking one out. Look for people who share your values and faith and who will support and encourage you as you work to build your self-belief. It might be a church or a small group, a book club or a support group, whatever it is. I know that it can make a huge difference in your life. As we continue on this journey of building self-belief and living out our faith, I want to talk about the importance of practicing mindfulness and self-care. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and to forget to take care of ourselves in the process. But Jesus himself modeled a different way of living, one that prioritized rest and rejuvenation. In the Bible, we see that Jesus often withdrew to quiet places to pray and to recharge, to get away from the crowds and the noise, and to focus on his relationship with God. And I think we can learn from his example. When we take the time to practice mindfulness and self-care, we're not being selfish, we're actually being wise. We're recognizing that we need to take care of ourselves in order to live out our faith and to serve others effectively. For me, this has meant prioritizing activities that bring me joy and relaxation, like taking long walks or practicing yoga. It's meant learning to say no to things that drain my energy and saying yes to things that fill me up. And it's meant being intentional about taking time to rest and recharge, whether that's by taking a nap or reading a book. When we prioritize mindfulness and self-care, we start to feel more grounded and centered. We're better able to handle the stresses and challenges of life, and we're more able to live out our faith with confidence and joy. We're also more able to hear God's voice and to sense his presence in our lives, which is essential for building self-belief and living out our faith. So, I want to encourage you to start prioritizing mindfulness and self-care in your own life. Take time to get quiet and to listen to your own heart and soul. Do things that bring you joy and relaxation, and don't be afraid to say no to things that drain your energy. Remember that Jesus himself prioritized rest and rejuvenation, and that it's okay to do the same. By taking care of ourselves, we're not being selfish, we're actually being wise, and we're enabling ourselves to live out our faith and to serve others with greater joy and effectiveness. As we come to the end of this journey of exploring how to build self-belief through the power of Jesus, I want to leave you with a final challenge to integrate the teachings of Jesus into your daily life. You know, it's one thing to know about Jesus and his teachings, but it's another thing entirely to actually live them out. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, to take the principles and practices that we've talked about and to start applying them to your everyday life. This means setting achievable goals for yourself and taking action toward them. It means trusting in Jesus' guidance and provision, even when the road ahead seems uncertain or obstacles seem insurmountable. And it means being willing to take risks and to step outside of your comfort zone, knowing that Jesus is with you every step of the way. When we start to integrate the teachings of Jesus into our daily lives, we start to experience a sense of purpose and direction that we may have been missing. We start to feel more confident and self-assured, not because of our own abilities or strengths, but because of the power and presence of Jesus in our lives. And we start to see that we are not just living for ourselves, but for something greater, for the glory of God and for the good of others. So I want to encourage you to start setting goals for yourself that align with your values and passions, and to start taking action toward them. It might be as simple as starting a new habit or routine, or as complex as pursuing a new career or dream. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you to trust in Jesus' guidance and provision, and to know that he is with you every step of the way. Remember that success is not just about achieving our goals, but about the journey itself, about the person we become, and the relationships we build along the way. And remember that Jesus is not just a distant figure or a historical person, he is a living, present reality who is with us always, guiding and empowering us to live out our faith and to achieve our dreams. As you go forward, I want to leave you with the final verse from the Bible, Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." I want to encourage you to hold on to this verse and to remember that you are not alone in your journey. Jesus is with you, and he is empowering you to achieve great things. So go out there, take risks, pursue your dreams, and trust in the power and provision of Jesus to guide and sustain you every step of the way. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more of this content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. Peace out, gamers.